I imagine when you're looking at the art produced, that probably gives you a bit of an insight into the patient's mind. So is there any instances where it's like disturbing and maybe it like that becomes a talking point? Like, oh, I see you've produced this disturbing art. Let's discuss that.
Yeah, so sometimes it can come up. So as part of our training, we have group sessions at uni. And with that, we actually get to practice this skill of, talking openly about our art and so on. And there have been times where I've looked at other people's art and gone, that's triggered this for me, or I think it actually looks like this compared to what they're saying, And it's just a case of, oh, I've seen you've produced, talk to me what you've done, talk to me about the process of how you've made this and so on, and going step by step as to how they got to that end result. And going, oh, what's the intention for like why you've cut it in this with like a Stanley knife, for example. Like, why have you done it with a Stanley knife rather than a pair of scissors, or like tearing it with your hands or stuff like that? Because people do. They gravitate to all sorts of different things, honestly. And you've got to ask these questions, as silly as they may sound. But honestly,
excuse me, sir. Why have you painted this in your blood? I'm concerned.
Things like that. If it was something like that scenario, obviously that's where safeguarding and stuff like that comes in, and we would say, we would obviously, once we notice that, we would stop that and be like, look, we've got some concerns, and we would obviously escalate that in those kind of situations, like you brought up there.
You ever witness anything like that? Like where it goes too far and you have to kind of end the session?
Not in this current journey that I'm on, but like when I've worked in education and I've like made art with like younger kids, I have seen things that I've gone, that's brought up a certain theme that I'm concerned about. I need to raise that because I'm not doing my duty of care and diligence if I don't. And you have to, that's one of the first things you have to disclose with any client, which is, if there's something that I think that it's going to cause you harm, or if I think you're going to cause harm to someone else, I have to raise that, and I have to, do my due diligence to make sure that at the end of the day, you've got the right support around you, or maybe you need something, extra to support you through whatever, has come up. So it's something that, can come up at any time for any therapist, regardless of what type of therapist you are. But it's, you need to do your due diligence with that. But yeah, anything that severe where, there's that, the blood thing or whatever you just mentioned, yeah, we would stop that, I think, as soon as we noticed and go, we need to deal with this.